I was never supposed to work nights. I only took the graveyard shift at the Highway Pines Motel because my day job hours got cut, and the manager promised the pay was better after dark. It wasn't the pay that worried me. It was the ledger. On my first night, my manager, a wiry man named Cole, slid a thick, leather-bound book across the counter toward me. The cover was cracked, the pages yellow. "This is the guest ledger," he said. "Don't lose it, and follow the rules inside." I thought he meant housekeeping rules or inventory notes, but when I opened the first page, the handwriting inside made my skin crawl. Highway Pines Motel. Night shift protocols: do not deviate, do not improvise. If a guest checks in after 1:33 a.m., do not write their name in the ledger. Leave that page blank. Never, under any circumstances, give room 6 a wake-up call. Between 2 o'clock and 2:04 a.m., the phone will ring. The caller will ask for the guest in for B. Tell them we have no such room. Do not let them speak again. If you hear footsteps in the hall but the cameras show it empty, lock the front desk door and wait until the sound stops. At exactly 3:15 a.m., check the lobby mirror. If you see anyone behind you, do not turn around. They will leave when they're ready. If a guest complains about a tapping sound in their room, transfer them to 7. Leave the key on the counter and don't escort them. No matter what you see, the pool closes at midnight. If someone is swimming after that, turn off the lights and walk away when you count the cash drawer at 4 a.m. You may find more than there should be. Do not take the extra. It isn't ours. If the ledger opens on a page you didn't turn to, close it immediately. Do not read that page. At 5:47 a.m., the front door will unlock on its own. That's your signal to leave. Don't linger. Cole watched my eyes scan the list. "Seems weird, I know," he said, "but follow them, every night. Don't try to figure it out." I laughed nervously, thinking it was a prank for new hires. But Cole didn't laugh back. He just handed me the key ring and walked out. The first 2 hours passed without incident. A trucker checked in. A couple paid in cash for a room just for a few hours, the usual. But at exactly 2:01 a.m., the phone rang. I hesitated before picking up front desk. "This is Evan," I said. Silence at first. Then a low voice, deep and scratchy, said, "I need to speak to the guest in 4B. Rule 3. "I'm sorry, sir. We don't have a 4B. A pause. I thought I heard faint water dripping on their end of the line. Then the voice said, slower, "He's expecting me." I didn't answer. I hung up. The phone rang again instantly. I let it go. It rang for the rest of that minute before stopping dead at exactly 2:04 a.m. At 2:40. The security camera over hallway 3 showed footsteps, just footsteps, moving past the guest rooms. No legs, no body. Just the dark indentations pressing into the carpet runner. I locked the front desk door, like Rule 4 said. I didn't breathe until the last step faded, at 3:15. My eyes drifted to the lobby mirror. Something stood behind me. I didn't turn. I didn't move. It stayed there for a full minute, tall, thin, unmoving, before fading from the reflection. When I finally looked over my shoulder, the lobby was empty. By the time 5:47 rolled around, I was out the door the second the lock clicked. My heart didn't stop racing until I hit the highway, I told myself. I'd quit the next morning, but I dared in singled quotes, because on my second night, one of the rules broke itself. Asterisk. On my second night, the air felt wrong before I even unlocked the front desk door. The motel sat quiet, but it wasn't the peaceful kind of quiet. It was the kind where the shadows felt heavier, and every sound was too sharp. Cole wasn't there to hand me the ledger. It was already sitting on the counter, open. Too. A page I'd never seen before. The handwriting was still the same black ink. Cramped letters, but there were new rules. Rules that weren't there last night. Asterisk. If Rule 1 is broken, do not check the ledger for 24 hours. When you see the man with the hat in the parking lot, keep your head down. If he knocks, give him a key to room 6. If room 6 calls you, let it ring. Rule 1. If a guest checks in after 1:33 a.m., do not write their name in the ledger. I checked the clock. 1:35. and standing at the counter was a woman. Mid-30s, pale eyes too wide, clutching a single duffel bag like it was keeping her alive. She slid an ID across the counter. I didn't even glance at the name. I just gave her a key to room 8 and left the ledger page blank. But when I looked back down, her name was already there. Neatly written, black ink. Like I'd put it there myself. That's when I realized something. The ledger didn't just keep track of rules, it enforced them. Around 2 a.m., the phone rang. Rule 3 again. I told the caller there was number 4B, but this time, they laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. By 2:10, the laughter was coming from the hallway too. The camera feed showed nothing, but the mic above the desk picked it up clearly. At 2:52 a.m., I saw him. The man in the hat. He was standing under the broken parking lot light, head bowed so I couldn't see his face. His shadow stretched all the way to the curb, far longer than it should have. He began walking toward the lobby. Slow, purposeful. I looked down, like Rule 12 said. But when the knock came, I hesitated. The rule said to give him the key to room 6. But Rule 2 said never to give room 6 a wake-up call. And Rule 13 said if room 6 called me, not to answer. The rules were starting to weave together like a trap. I slid the key under the crack in the glass door. When I looked up, the man was gone, but the key was to Dot. At 3:15 a.m., I glanced at the lobby mirror. Only my reflection was there. At first. Then behind me, the woman from room 8 appeared in the glass. She was soaking wet, her hair plastered to her face. I turned around. No one. When I looked back at the mirror, she was closer, her mouth moving silently. Eyes wide like before, but now they were completely black. I dropped my gaze, and didn't look up until my watch hit 3:16. At 4 a.m., I opened the cash drawer. There was more money than there should have been. Way more. Neat stacks of 20s, crisp and new. I didn't touch it, but when I closed the drawer and looked back down, the ledger had opened again. Another new page. Do not leave the motel before 6:06 a.m. tonight. My stomach sank. Rule 10 had always said leave at 5:47 a.m. That was the escape time. Now it wanted me to stay. At 5:47, the lock clicked like before. I could have walked out. I could have gotten in my car and never come back. But I didn't. I stayed because I was afraid of what would happen if I disobeyed the ledger directly. The next 19 minutes were the longest of my life. At 5:50, footsteps started in the hall. By 5:55, they were pounding, dozens of them, racing back and forth, past every door. The cameras stayed empty. At 6 o'clock, every phone in every room started ringing at once. The sound filled the lobby, drilling into my skull. At 6:05, it stopped. The lobby door swung open on its own at exactly 6:06. The parking lot was empty. The sun was barely breaking the horizon. I quit the next day. Or at least, I tried to. Cole didn't argue. He just smiled in a way that made my skin crawl, and slid the ledger toward me one last time. You can leave, he said, but it'll still know where you are. I haven't been back to Highway Pines since. But last night, the phone in my apartment rang at 2 o'clock a.m. The voice on the other end asked for the guest in, for B. Asterisk, I still don't know what the ledger is, or what's inside room 6. I don't want to know. But I've started keeping my own book now. Not for motel guests, but for rules I follow at home. Rule 1. If the phone rings after 2 a.m., I don't answer it. Rule 2. If I hear footsteps outside my door, I don't check the peephole. Rule 3. If I ever see the man in the hat again, I run. Because if the ledger can find me once, it can find me again. And if it finds you, follow the rules. Asterisk. Have you ever worked a night shift where the rules didn't make sense, and maybe weren't meant to keep you safe? Let me know in the comments.